like playing a wrestling game with your friends in the living room back in the day. So were the games of our lives. Wait, no, I wanted to be Stone Cold. That's not fair. I'm about to stunner you, baby. And these are the games of our lives.
Super Mario and Pokemon and all the games that took us to another place and made us want to keep playing all night. These are the
See the man dancing.
games of our lives.
I see the man dancing.
You see the man dancing. Welcome everybody into the Games of Our Lives podcast. My name is Bill, accompanied by the wonderful, fantastic, this is a debut move here right now. We've got ThrillhouseMAX, aka Thrilly, aka Ricky Throwback.
My God.
And we've got ourselves a fantastic Thrillback Thursday.
That's right.
Ready to roll right here tonight. And we are talking an awesome game this week. A game that is truly a blast from the past.
Classic.
Truly one of the GOATs in its genre. Really, what game are we going to be talking about today?
Excuse me, brother. We are talking about WWF No Mercy.
Oh, it is just one of the quintessential wrestling video games on planet Earth. But
My God. Amazing.
before we dive into this, dastardly dangerous game here, got a couple of news items we got to cover.
Let's go.
Very important things. So, first piece of news here. There's a new video game that is going to be coming out. It was announced, I want to say like a year and a half ago, called the Plucky Squire. It is a Zelda-like video game that you play like in a storybook. And a lot of the game elements kind of use like the book itself for some of its like movement properties and things like that. And it finally got an official release date, which is going to be on September 17th. So we're looking at a month away. It's going to be like a cross-platform, multi-platform indie game here. I got a question for you though, Thrilly.
Okay.
What is your favorite Zelda-like game? I mean, it can be Zelda, but
If I'm going with Zelda, I really enjoyed Tunic.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't very good at it, but it was fun, and I just like the whole dynamic of it. It looked great. The animation was just like really, like I was in it. Like when I was playing, I was just like, I'm in it.
The game's
And
beautiful.
The game's beautiful, yeah. And that's like a big thing for me is like narrative and like visual aesthetic. I mean, a game can look like shit and still be good, but this game just looked amazing, and I was hooked.
Beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. If I had to pick a favorite Zelda-like game, what game I really enjoyed it. I don't know what my favorite is, but one that I really, really enjoyed was this game called Death's Door. Had very similar vibes to Tunic. Kind of had that like isometric top-down-ish view. Had a little bit of like a Souls-like combat element to it, where it's like you did a lot of dodging to avoid getting absolutely murked. You play as a little crow, and you're solving puzzles. It's almost like if Tunic wasn't just like the most confusing game in the world, that would be Death's Door.
I've seen ads for this game,
Yeah.
and it looks phenomenal. I haven't played it, but I feel like I should.
If you liked Tunic, you would definitely like Death's Door.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's definitely a vibe. Got some like Studio Ghibli kind of energy to it.
Oh, love that.
And yeah, like the movement feels really nice. Definitely worth checking out.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yes,
Add another one to the list.
Next piece of news. Now this one, not exactly a video game question, but it's important because it has to do with us.
Okay.
So, in an interview recently, the creator of certain television show, you might have heard of it, Ted Lasso.
Uh-huh.
who is also in charge of another television show that we might
Mhm.
love,
Yes.
went on the
I'm
record
sorry, I'm getting too excited for this one.
went
Go
on the
ahead.
record saying basically, we want to bring it back. We want to bring back Scrubs. And you know, Scrubs, if you don't know, is one of Thrilly and I's favorite TV shows.
Yeah.
All 8 seasons and only the first 8 seasons.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh, but why is the relationship between Turk and JD, the two main characters, just the best?
Oh my god, they're just two peas in a they are yin and yang. They are like, I don't know. They're the chocolate to each other's peanut butter. The just there's like an indescribable chemistry between the two of them. And, like the two of them are just like meant to be intertwined. Like I just don't know how else to say it. Those
It
two are perfect together.
it might be the ultimate bromance. Like you see a
Yeah,
lot of them in television and stuff like that, but very few kind of nail it perfectly with Mr. Turkleton and John Dorian here. And
yeah,
for those who haven't seen Scrubs, highly recommend it. It is one of the best comedies, uh, with a little bit of drama sprinkled in, but not
yeah.
in the way that you would think. I would say, it's just really, really well done. And go watch Scrubs, and if it comes back, you gotta watch it. And also go watch Ted Lasso if you haven't, because that's a banger too.
So I have a quick side story.
Yeah.
I was hosting trivia the other day, and one of the questions was a golf question, but the answer was eagle. So of course, when I read the answer,
Eagle!
yeah, I said eagle, and about half of the people got it, and the other half didn't. And I just wanted to look at them and be like, "You guys need to watch some TV." Like,
Listen, I feel like in today's television landscape, it's kind of like harder for people to have like ubiquitous experiences. Given
yeah,
that you have all these different streaming services, it's not like everybody just has like NBC, CBS, and Fox,
yeah,
and those are like the zeitgeist. That's what's happening. Like
yeah,
now, in the era of streaming services, it's like, I only watch what's on Netflix. Well, I only watch what's on HBO Max. Well, look at me, I'm a Hulu man. Like
yeah.
it's very scattered and all over the place, and it's kind of unfortunate because having some of those moments, like, like I would say the last like big thing that kind of everybody got in on was probably Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
That feels like the last one. The last one I was really a part of, and I used to go to Thrilly's house every single week for this show,
yep,
especially like on the back half of the show
mhm,
was Breaking Bad.
yeah.
We did a little
And
Walking Dead too.
yeah, we had a lot of Walking Dead nights. I think the biggest shame is that a lot of shows that are really good just end up going under the radar because there's so many streaming services and things like that. Like you'll get really good shows that come up on Peacock or
Right.
whatever other streaming service, and there's just so much to offer that people don't get to see it. And it's not the same as like, a good show being on primetime TV and everybody knowing about it. It's kind of a shame that we've moved on from that era, but it just makes people have to try like that much harder to get recognized on a broader spectrum.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, even like in modern day, maybe like the most recent one that was like a streaming service exclusive may have been Mando on Disney.
Yeah, or maybe even like Bridgerton. Bridgerton was
Oh,
Netflix, and
oh yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm having a Bridgerton themed party."
yeah,
I've never once seen
it's
Bridgerton. I just assume it's a
it's
bunch
not
of
my thing.
I just assume it's a bunch of British people being British for
Yeah,
like 53 minutes.
that is also my assumption. I'm just assuming a lot of this.
A lot of this, just a lot of pinky out. Apologies to the British listeners if it hits too close to home, but it is what it is.
Yeah, go eat your stale breakfast.
Oof. And if you're Australian, go count your medals. That was a good meme. That was a good little meme. I liked the 10 minutes where Australia was like, "Hey America, we're better than you at the Olympics." And then LeBron James took it personally, I think, and won
Yeah.
53 gold medals for America.
I like the one Australian lady who's like, I'm going to be a breakdancer, and then got a zero in the Olympics.
I I feel like she like had to be like a meme send. Like that had to be like there had to be some sort of like there's something a
Like,
little we know that she's not gonna kill it, but she's got a doctorate in cultural dance, so we like
it's
legally have to send her.
it sounds like she rigged her way into getting there because
Right.
it just the news headline. I'm like, oh, that figures.
Right. It almost sounds like she was like, listen, I know you guys are like the judges that are gonna send us to the thing. Here's the deal. What I'm doing is actually what real people would consider traditional breakdance, and I would know because I have a doctorate in this. So if you don't send me, it's actually you guys being the idiots. And
It almost felt like she just stole somebody's Olympics uniform and they were looking for the next competitor and they're like, you know what? Go ahead. Just like,
I do
how
have
did
to
this
say
happen?
though, I think my favorite part about the entire breakdancing part of the Olympics, it felt extremely similar to playing like Wii Sports. And there's just like this like circle podium that like half of the sports take place in, usually combat sports.
Yeah.
But it looked very similar to like the Woohoo Island Combat Sports Center, that like dance arena. I loved it. It gave me fantastic vibes. And listen, I'm ready to move on to the next piece of news.
All right.
All right, this one we're going back to video games here because
Yep.
this
Let's
is a
go.
video game podcast, for goodness sake,
That's right.
golly. So
For goodness sakes.
for goodness sakes, we had an accidental leak happen, and this is a PlayStation Store leak. And
Okay.
what this leak showed, and I think this is a big deal because personally I enjoyed this game more than its sequel, despite knowing that the sequel is by all accounts like a better game technically. But a certain Red Dead Redemption 1 might be coming to PC. And now I'm gonna go on the record and say that I enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 1 more than I enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2. I just felt
Yep.
like the pacing was a little better. I liked the movement a little bit more.
Okay.
Have you played RDR1?
Yeah, of course.
And
So,
do you have an opinion between the two games?
so before we did this podcast, I think it was last week, you asked me to make a list of my top 5 games, and on that list, I put Red Dead Redemption 2 as my number 1 favorite game. And I will hold to that and say that Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably one of the best games that's come out recently, but Red Dead Redemption is still not a bad game. Like, it is also a fantastic game. I feel like maybe visually, Red Dead Redemption 2 is like better across the board, but there's a lot of good things about the first Red Dead Redemption. And if they do a remaster, a lot of the people that haven't gotten to play the first one are going to get a really good opportunity to see why Red Dead Redemption 2 was also so good.
Let's be real. The best part about Red Dead Redemption 1, though, can we agree? It's the zombie DLC.
Oh, it was
It
fantastic.
was so good. So fun.
Like, that was around the time where everything had a zombie DLC, and I think Call of Duty still gets zombies DLC. I
Well,
don't really know.
Because I think Call of Duty started it without even the DLC. Like Call of Duty, was it World at War, had Nazi zombies just as a mode.
Yeah, I think it was just a mode, but now
And-
everything's DLC, so
Right. It did kickstart everything having either Nazis or zombies as
yeah,
villains for like a whole 10-year window.
it's either a Nazi or a zombie or a Nazi zombie.
Exactly. Those are the only 3 types of enemies that exist in the world.
Yeah.
But I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What's a classic game from like that like 360 PS3 era that you would love to see ported to like either a modern system or PC?
Oh man. See, there's like a lot of good games from that era too. But like literally since you just mentioned Call of Duty, World at War for some reason like sticks out to me as like the best one that I remember playing. And I would love to like go through that and see all those maps again and see them like kind of remastered and smoothed down because that was like a really fantastic game.
World at War was such a blast, and I feel like Call of Duty hits the hardest when you're in the 18 to 22 age bracket.
Yeah.
I feel like like it's like a lot of people say it's like the best music of your life is somewhere in your like 15 to 20 window.
Yeah.
I think video games are typically in the best of your life in that like same like 15 to 20 window. And I think World at War came out when we were like 18, so like prime age.
Yeah,
And,
we were definitely in college at the time.
And I remember like that's I think the first game I ever played, first Call of Duty anyway, that I actually prestiged in. And the only other one that I prestiged in was maybe Black Ops 2.
Mm.
But man, yeah, World at War as a port for today, or even like a remake, would be insane.
Yeah.
So what a good pick. What a good pick. I've got one more piece of news here.
What do you got?
Now, we've got some wrestling.
Okay.
So I don't know if you heard about this. You may not have. It really has more to do with Deadpool and Wolverine than it does with wrestling, but it involves former superstar Kevin Nash.
Okay.
So Kevin Nash is a little salty because he was not in Deadpool and Wolverine, and the reason he's salty is because back in the day, I don't remember what movie it was, maybe like a Punisher movie or something like that. He played a character called the Russian.
Yeah, that was in the Thomas Jane Punisher.
And so in Deadpool and Wolverine, the Russian exists in this like alternate universe area that exists, but he's played by some fella named Billy Clements. I don't know if he's also a wrestler or if he's just an actor.
I don't know.
Just a guy with a beard. But Kevin Nash was like, he doesn't even look like the Russian. That should have been me. So that made me think of like wrestlers and having cameos in movies. Really, do you have a favorite wrestler cameo in a movie?
Oh man. Ironically, it may be Kevin Nash because TMNT.
Okay.
He was Super Shredder.
Okay.
So I mean there's a lot of really good cameos to go off of. There's been cameos in like almost every movie conceivable, but you know how much I love Ninja Turtles. So that was like quick off the top of the head.
Oh yeah. I think my favorite. Yeah, go ahead.
I will say, ironically, there is a wrestler in the Deadpool movie because the actor who played Sabretooth was a WCW wrestler.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think my favorite wrestler cameo in a movie is in one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time.
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way.
Yes.
We got the Big Show as.
See, I know my bro.
and he wasn't even. I don't think that was like pre-Big Show. I think he was just like Giant or like the Giant or something like that.
Yeah, I think he was still in WCW.
So the Giant, aka Big Show, as Big Santa, that Arnold Schwarzenegger had to fight because he was
so good.
It's just wild that movie had just a counterfeit toy factory run by a bunch of dudes in Santa outfits is the most insane concept to me in the world. That movie is a fever dream.
Oh, you know what is another really weird but good wrestler cameo? Do you remember the movie MacGruber?
MacGruber! Yeah.
Oh my god. Like they had like 5 or 6 wrestlers, right? I think it was like Chris Jericho, MVP, Mark Henry, Great Khali, and Kane.
Mm-hmm.
And MacGruber's going around trying to recruit all of them. And then he gets them all in the van. And then the van just fucking blows up. And I was like, yep, that's it. That
sounds about right.
It reminded me when I saw the Deadpool 2 movie and all the X-Force that he lined up died immediately. That's what it reminded me of. I was like, MacGruber!
I still remember, if I remember correctly, did MacGruber and like the cast of MacGruber not like show up on WWE Raw
They
one
did. They
night
were
to promo the
MacGruber was
movie?
the guest host of Raw,
Uh,
and they blew up R-Truth.
and they blew up R-Truth. Rest in peace, soldier.
Rest in peace.
Oh man, is R-Truth still wrestling?
Oh yeah,
Oh, awesome, awesome. That makes me so happy.
I love that dude.
R-Truth, he's so rad.
Yeah, he's the best.
Speaking of rad, we're talking about a really cool video game today.
Yep.
We are talking about Thrilly, remind the people.
WWF No Mercy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, No Mercy was a game that came out right at the turn of the century. We're talking, November 2000. And listen, it was for the Nintendo 64.
Yep.
Do you remember? No looking. Do you have like an image of the game in front of you or no?
I did, but I scrolled away from it.
Scroll away. Who are the three wrestlers on the cover?
The Rock is there.
The Rock is dead center, looking up with his glasses.
Triple H.
Triple H is on the cover. We've got one more WWF superstar.
Oh God. How do I not remember what the third one is?
I'll give you a
Remember
hint. They're still wrestling, I think.
Still wrestling, you think?
Took some time off for an injury.
I already said The Rock. Well, everybody took time off. For
like
injuries.
retired for an injury for a while.
Oh man. Fuck. I don't remember.
And we were there for that retirement.
Oh, Edge?
Edge is on the cover. Is he wrestling still?
Yeah, he's in AEW. I think he's injured right now.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic. But yeah, Edge is the third superstar on the cover there. Now, WWF No Mercy, it's the final wrestling game to be put out for the Nintendo 64.
Yep.
It was published by THQ, and it is one of the few games, and wrestling games in general during this era, were some of the few games that actually made use of the Nintendo 64 D-pad, which always confused me, because every time I would try to play the game, I would use the stick at first.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I'm just like, why am I not moving? What's happening? And I'm like, just like hitting buttons, and then I'm like, oh.
Doing taunts.
Yeah, just taunting the whole time. I'm like, this is sick, but I'm also not being good at this.
Oh man.
Really, what are some of your favorite memories from playing WWF No Mercy?
I've had a lot of late nights playing WWF No Mercy. When it comes to even just like having people over. Like I think you might have come over and played at some point. I know I played with my brother a lot, and like I just had so many different types of like experiences playing this game. Like there was a lot of customization.
There we go.
My words are not working. I could do whatever I wanted with that game, basically. Like you could create all sorts of wrestlers. You could create like a whole other company in there with the amount of wrestlers you could make in that game. But even before that, like the roster itself, like the roster you start with, was bigger than I think all the other three N64 wrestling games that came out. There's got to be like 70 something people that were on that roster. And it's definitely like it's like peak Attitude Era, which is like if you're my age, like that's kind of like a peak for you as a wrestling fan, you know?
It's some of the coolest wrestlers all in one game.
Yeah.
And you're right, like the roster, just like the starting roster, has I want to say like 45 wrestlers, which is insane. And that's just the men. I think it's got like another like 10 women wrestlers. And then it has like another like 20 or 30 unlockable wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
And can I talk to like just that era of gaming in general?
Do it.
There's
Do
just
it.
something so profoundly fun during this era of gaming. and you saw it a lot in like late era Nintendo 64, early era like GameCube, PlayStation 2.
Yep.
Uh, a lot of video games that had rosters that had just a ton of like unlockable characters.
Mhm.
You know, thinking about like peak like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, where you could like unlock characters. You know, there are a bunch of like sports games where you could unlock characters, and you know, even in this like wrestling game, you could be former Congressperson Linda McMahon
Yes.
in WWF No Mercy, which is just psychotic.
Yeah.
Also, a young Michael Cole is unlockable, which is
Weird, but
a
go
little
go off.
weird.
You
Did he
know.
start as a wrestler, or was he always an
No,
announcer
he's
guy?
never been a wrestler. I mean, he had wrestled in that
Yeah, that
WrestleMania match, but he was never a wrestler before. He was a war reporter before WWF.
okay.
He
Is
he
an
was out there
interesting
doing the
pipeline.
news. Yeah.
Yes, the old good old fashioned Gulf War to WWE pipeline that exists.
It's like, hey, well, listen, we enjoyed you reporting on the war from that helicopter. Would you like to come and stand next to The Rock and let him make fun of you?
We'll pay you money. Sold. Sold. Get me out of this helicopter.
Yep.
Oh man. So now we did talk about the handful of wrestlers that are in this. Do you have a couple of favorite wrestlers that you liked to play as in this game?
Honestly, I liked playing as myself the most. That sounds so selfish.
Who?
But,
Thrilly playing as a custom wrestler in a wrestling game? I would never.
but I spent a lot of time playing with my created wrestlers. I remember creating a wrestler for like every person I knew. I created myself. I created my brother and my father. I think I created you at one point. But like aside from that, I liked playing as Kane and the Undertaker because like when I was a kid, those were my favorites. Stone Cold is always a good one, and Eddie Guerrero, like love Eddie Guerrero.
Now, when you were creating your characters here,
Yep.
when you created yourself as a character, what was your wrestling name? And also, what was like your finishing move?
Um, I don't know if I remember what my finishing move was, but I had one that was just me under my actual name. And then I had one, I called him El Tiburón. That's Spanish for the shark.
Okay.
And I thought he was like this cool ass luchador, made him wear all blue and shit. I thought he was so cool. And then I got older and I was like, that's so fucking lame. But I was like, this is cool. Everybody's gonna love it. And then a wrestler named Shark Boy became a real wrestler. And I was like, okay, no more Shark Man.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and then like that one movie Shark Boy and Lava Girl came out. You don't want to be Shark Boy anymore.
Actually, so the guy who portrayed the wrestler Shark Boy, he won a lawsuit against the company that made Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Stop.
No, for real. Because he was Shark Boy before the movie became a thing. So
I feel like the name Shark Boy isn't like
you might not think, but apparently,
right,
if you could prove
I don't think I is the thing. When I think of Shark Boy, I 1000% have never thought one time of the wrestler.
You just think of Taylor, what's his face, and
yeah, I'm thinking of Taylor Lautner taking a bite out of crime, or whatever it is that he did in that movie.
Yeah.
Now, in WWF No Mercy, you could, if I'm not mistaken, like you could like do your own like story mode with your like created characters.
Yeah, so the career mode
Yeah.
is probably my favorite career mode out of like all the wrestling games.
Yeah, how does that career mode work?
So I mean, it's like there's branching stories. So there's certain parts where if there's a match where you win or lose, it'll affect the way the story goes. So it's not linear. So some of these games that you play, you can only finish if you win everything. If you beat every level, beat every match. Like if you lose a match, you could be on a different storyline. And it just offers like a little bit of like replayability because you can play the story mode multiple times with different characters. Like you don't have to use the same character. You can use any character that's in the game for your story modes. So and there's I think there's a championship mode for each title, so you can basically unlock every title that's in the game. And like I
Really
spent so
cool.
many times, so much time trying to play all of them.
Now, are there special kinds of like matches you can set up in this game? Like, can you do like a Hell in the Cell type match or?
There was I don't remember if there was a Hell in a Cell. There's definitely a cage match. There's ladder matches. There's all that sort. They had the Royal Rumble, but the limitations of the N64 back then. You could only have like 4 people in the ring at one time. So
Oh, so like
um,
as you would eliminate one, then another one would appear, sort of thing.
yeah,
So it's like you have 60 wrestlers ready to fight, but it's only 4 in the ring at a time.
yeah. I'm looking at it now. I had to pull it up because I couldn't remember. So
Yeah,
there was a steel cage. They had first blood matches, which are just a regular match where you got to make them bleed.
of
You
course.
got the hardcore match, the last man standing. So nothing super crazy, but it was cool enough. You could fight backstage and everything too. So that was
Oh, that's
always
cool.
yeah,
Were you able to
fighting in
like
a
use
bar room.
weapons in the game? Like, could you?
Oh, oh yeah, there was plenty of weapons. You can make your opponent bleed and stuff, but
Oh, okay.
again, N64 graphics, so
I'm looking at this like list of like multiplayer options here, and one of them says guest referee. Could
Yes.
could you play as a referee in this game?
Yeah, you could play as the referee.
And, so you could like kind of like schmooze like fights and be like, I actually want the other guy to win, so I'm gonna tap real slow here.
Say 1, 2, no. Oh man, good times.
It's such a petty thing. Imagine playing with friends and it's like you two playing with it's like you and one other person, and then it's like me, Mr. Ref, just being like, well,
Just being a
I know
troll.
you've got him pinned, but damn,
I can't see it. I don't know
do
what
I hear
happened
a
here.
dog barking out there? What's going on?
Squirrel.
What? Huh?
Oh, too good.
Now, were there any like I'm trying to think and look through this list if there were any like wrestlers that were just like absolute like meme wrestlers floating around, and I really can't find too many, but I do think it is incredibly hilarious that Mick Foley is basically unlockable 3 times in the game for each of his different characters. Because you could do Mick Foley, you could do Cactus Jack, and I think Mankind was in there as well.
Yep. You also had, you had your Scotty Too Hottie and all that stuff.
Of course.
I think the memeiest one that is an unlockable character was you could unlock the Godfather's hoe.
What?
Yeah, I was like, what in the world?
That makes like that's insane.
You could buy her at the SmackDown Mall for $500,000.
You could buy her.
And of course you have to buy her because she's a hoe, but
of course. I do love that like Mae Young is a wrestler in this game because
Yep.
Mae Young, for those who are unaware, is not young. Mae Young, is she still alive?
No, God no.
Yeah, okay. She was like 90 when she died like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine that like her being in this game, she was like a million years old in the game.
Right. Like the oldest person that's ever been put into a video game.
Right? I will say, so this game came out in 2000, right? Right at the turn of 3D graphics becoming a thing.
Yeah.
How, like, looking back, we can say, oh, look how silly and square these creatures look. But back when the game was like first coming out, how cool was it to be like, this is peak freaking graphics. These are
right.
These are so sick.
you look at Stone Cold and you're like, holy shit, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone
My
Cold!
God.
Bug out. It's pretty. Like, some of them do not look great, but
Yeah.
but back in the day, they looked incredible.
Oh,
So
yeah.
lifelike.
As lifelike as you could get back in the N64.
Right? I mean, like, what a cool era for video games.
Yeah.
Where things, like, obviously looking back look nothing like the person they're supposed to be. But
Yep.
but in the year of our Lord 2000, they were just so darn, like, badass.
Yeah.
And cool. It's like, look at me. I'm going to play as Mr. Ass, who is a character in this video game.
Who is also still wrestling.
Please, is he just wrestling as Billy Gunn now?
Yeah. Thank God.
The wrestler formerly known as Mr. Ass. Which is just what a silly, like, not even an unlockable character, just like, oh, here's Mr. Ass.
So I'm gonna let you in on something because I know you haven't really been following AEW, but he wrestles for AEW.
Okay.
And the nickname that they've given him is Daddy Ass.
Stop.
And so there was a wrestler, Danhausen, who nicknamed both of Billy Gunn's sons the Ass Boys. Now, that's not their team name, but he called them the Ass Boys, and it took off to the point where, like, people in the crowd would just start chanting Ass Boys.
Ass Boys. Oh,
it's
no.
So good.
Imagine that being, like, your legacy as a wrestler. It's like, we're the Ass family.
Yeah. And so Billy, right, he's part of, like, a trio with this tag team. They're called the Acclaimed. And their whole thing is like, scissor me. Like, he'll hold your fingers up and you do the scissor. So one of them will just look at Daddy Ass and be like, scissor me, Daddy Ass. And then they just fucking scissor. It's,
no.
If there is no context outside of wrestling, it sounds bad, but it's wrestling. So
it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Guys, it's not fine. I don't think it's actually fine.
Scissor me, Daddy Ass.
Scissor me, Daddy Ass. Oh my God.
Oh man, love it.
I'm looking at some of these other hidden wrestlers, and the fact that you can wrestle as Jim Ross, is, first of all, hilarious to me, because Jim Ross is not a wrestler in my eyes.
Yeah, they just put, like, everybody they could in there.
Paul Bearer.
Yeah,
just, like, so silly. I wonder why Shawn Michaels is a hidden character. They're like, we had to have at least one cool character to unlock.
I feel like he hadn't, like, come back to wrestling at that point. I think he was, like, injured or like, on hiatus.
Oh.
So I don't think he had come back yet.
Okay.
Because he left around 98, and I don't think he wrestled again until, like, 2002-ish.
Oh.
Yeah.
And is that, like, when he came back, was that when he was with Triple H and they were doing their, like, you know, or was that before he retired? Or left?
No, that was when he came back, because he came back in 2002. So Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they had their whole blow up
thing.
Yeah, they feuded and then they teamed up, and then they feuded and teamed up. It was there were times. It was the best of times and the blurst of times. They you know how wrestling is.
Oh yeah. It is. It is.
Yeah.
Wrestling certainly is. I think is the best way to put it.
Yep.
Really, do you have any final thoughts to say about WWF No Mercy?
Man, what is there to say about WWF No Mercy? It's a classic to me. It still holds up. I mean, the whole reason that the AEW video game exists is because No Mercy was so good. They based their system on the No Mercy system. So it's worth looking back on. There's so many mods that people are still playing that, like, it kind of still gives it life. But even if you go and look back at the base game and enjoy yourself that way, it's a lot of fun to really go back, and especially if you can get friends on the couch, play a little couch co-op against each other. Like, it's a good time. It's one of my favorites of all time.
Listen, Thrilly, if something ever happens and we were to become neighbors again, I would be honored to play a little No Mercy with you. I'm just saying, like, if it happens, you know what I mean?
Are you predicting the future?
I'm just saying, if and or when it happens, I'm gonna hit you with a Stone Cold Stunner. That's just
I would be honored.
So now we've come to the point of the show where we have to first of all find ourselves a nice little hat and perhaps tip it a little bit. Really, if you'd like to open the show here with a nice little tip of your hat.
Okay, so
You didn't need a hat, by the way.
I know I was looking for an actual hat. I was gonna. Well, usually I have one in arm's reach. I was gonna. So first of all, I wanted to have like multiple tips of the hat because I'm the vibe daddy and I always have to think positive. But I will lead off with a tip of the hat to Civilization 7 for not requiring the 2K launcher when it launches in 2025.
Let's go!
Because the 2K launcher is the bane of my existence. It makes everything worse. Especially when it came to like Marvel's Midnight Suns, it was just absolutely atrocious. So when it launches next year, if you get it on Steam, you don't have to use the 2K launcher.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even realize that there was a new Civ game coming out, and that's incredible.
Yeah.
So
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Are you kidding me?
But can I also give an additional tip of the hat?
By all means, sir.
To EA Sports College Football 25 for absolutely taking over my life.
I noticed you've been playing it a lot on your Twitch channel.
A little bit too much. But I love that game. Even off stream, I've just been building this weird dynasty. I picked San Jose State University because they're blue and yellow, like my high school.
Okay.
And
shout out Wildcats.
Shout out Wildcats. And we started in 2024, and I think I'm in like 2032 by now. So
those are some old college kids.
Yeah, we're doing the thing, I'm recruiting the children of the players that I used to coach.
Oh, it's so good. All right, I've got myself a nice little tip of the hat.
Okay.
First of all, first tip of the hat, I have to say, I gotta tip my hat to the Vibe Daddy himself. Really, thank you for being here on this show, gracing us with your presence, your good vibes. And just
I'm honored.
Your entire phenomenal aura. Alrighty.
Listen, anytime you and I are together, it's like fireworks. I love you, brother.
I love you too, man. And second tip of the hat. Tip of the hat is also to ThrillhouseMAX. Now, for those who are unaware, there is a small percent chance, we may have alluded to this, that Thrilly may be moving very close to me.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens, all I have to say is I am so excited to once again be your neighbor, my brother. Because for those who are unaware,
my past and future neighbor,
Thrillhouse and I basically grew up like a street apart from each other, a 6-minute walk. So, if we could become neighbors again, that would be some
I'd be so happy.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah.
So that's my other tip of the hat. And I'm super excited to kick your ass in No Mercy.
Hell yeah.
But with every tip of the hat does come a wag of the finger. Naughty, naughty.
Naughty, naughty.
Really? Do you have any wags of the finger for us?
I offer a wag of the finger to Disney.
Ooh, they probably deserve it, and I don't know why. Enlighten me.
Okay, so Jeffrey Piccolo filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Disney after his wife died. following a severe allergic reaction after she ate in one of Walt Disney World's restaurants. However, Disney's lawyers are contending that because Piccolo once signed up for a free trial of Disney Plus and signs the user agreement, which stipulates arbitration in use of lawsuit, he can't sue them. That's what they're arguing.
Because he signed up for Disney Plus?
Because he signed up for Disney Plus.
Yo, I'm so happy I don't have Disney Plus. So I can still... You know what? I'm going to stub my toe and sue the pants off of Disney for something like that.
Ugh.
And I'll give all the proceeds to this guy who's having to go through all the hoops. This is ridiculous. Yeah.
I hope he's got a good lawyer, because that's some bullshit.
That's some bull jive if I've ever heard it in my entire life. Big wag to Disney.
Yeah.
Naughty Disney.
Naughty.
Now, my wag of the finger is to the concept of human illness. I think it's very rude that people get sick. And
Right.
my experience recently with that is I had tickets to see my favorite band of all time, Blink-182. And one of the lead singers got sick, and they ended up canceling 2 shows. And one of the shows was the one that I had tickets to, and I was not able to see Blink-182 live during their One More Time tour, and I am wagging my fingers at the concept of people getting sick. I think it's very rude.
Well, if I could also expand on this, weren't we supposed to go to Hella Mega before COVID became really, like, overblown?
Yeah.
Not overblown, but became, like, super prevalent.
Right.
Like, we were supposed to go, and then everybody and their mother got sick, and now we can't go to San Francisco and see Green Day and Weezer. That was a huge crime against my life.
I mean, listen, I've got tickets right now to see Green Day literally tonight as we're recording this. But the problem I'm running into right now is a second possible follow-up wag of the finger, because it's supposed to be thunderstorms tonight.
Oh God, the weather!
If it's supposed to rain, so the show, I think like they go on stage at 8:00, so we were gonna leave to be there around like 7. And if at 6:30 it's already raining, like, we're just not gonna go because we have lawn seats.
Yeah.
And there's no covering, and I'm not gonna sit out in a muddy lawn for lawn tickets. Like, I love Green Day, and I love that they're going on a Dookie and American Idiot tour.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna be poo-poo weather, then I'll go to the gym tonight and just listen to the albums back to back.
If you get rained out, I feel like this life just does not want you to see Green Day.
And you know what's messed up? We were just at the same theater a week ago.
Yeah.
And we saw Creed.
Oh.
I'm sorry, but we had to go for the memes. All right, like.
So. Creed was supposed to play a couple weeks ago in at the where the baseball stadium was.
Yeah.
And they got rained out. And now their new makeup date is on a Monday night, and I don't work Tuesdays, so I'm thinking like I might go for the memes.
I'm just gonna say this though, I did not realize just how close to God both them and 3 Doors Down are.
Really?
And let me just say that it was an interesting learning experience when they tried to open our eyes to the Lord.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. It's just I did not expect it,
I thought that was more well known.
You know what? A lot of other people did too, but I was not on that information list. I didn't realize 3 Doors Down got down like that.
I mean, the band's called Creed.
Well, I get Creed, but 3 Doors Down basically, gave a whole sermon. And I didn't expect it, but I think I conflate them with like 3 days grace, and I'm like, there's no way 3 days grace is one like built like that.
Okay, so I do have to ask you a question. Knowing the concerts that we've seen,
Yeah,
would
yeah.
you rather have Three Doors Down try to preach to you, or listen to Dave Mustaine from Megadeth rant against the government again?
You know what though? Here's the thing. I would bet money that in today, I bet if Dave Mustaine was on stage ranting against the government today, he'd probably say some things that would get him on a government watch list because he's probably one of the people who'd storm the Capitol, if you know what I mean.
I'm sure he has and probably will again.
So I guess just don't invite me to that show because I feel like it's a lose-lose. You know what? I'll take Three Doors Down because I know all the words to Superman, like, you know,
If
Superman.
I go crazy,
Yeah, exactly. So like,
Yeah.
I'll have a good time for at least 3 minutes and 26 seconds.
yeah.
So really knew it was
Like-
common knowledge. All right, I didn't, and I was so shocked that I actually texted our friend Matt during the concert, being like, "Yo, three Doors Down is trying to open my eyes to the lovings of a certain Jesus in history," and I didn't expect. All right. And that's not a tip of the hat or a wag of the. That's just something that happened, you know.
Yeah, just a statement of fact.
Just a recount of things that happened.
Yeah.
And yeah. So let's move on. I gotta ask you, Thrilly.
Yep.
You already mentioned it a little bit. I know you've been playing a little college ball, but what other video games have you been playing lately?
So aside from that, I just started playing Bug Snacks.
Okay.
I literally started playing it last night. And it's just so adorable. Like, it's just like I've been eyeballing it forever.
Yeah.
And finally I was like, you know what? We're gonna play it on stream and I'm gonna either love it or hate it. And so far, I'm loving it. But I really I'm probably gonna try to stream through the entirety of that game on stream.
That one's got a lot of like Viva Pinata energy.
Yeah, that's what somebody in the community was telling me, was that Viva Pinata, and I remember liking Viva Pinata, so I think I'll enjoy this just the same. I also been playing. I mean, you know this as much as anybody else. I play a lot of House Flipper too.
Why did you say that almost as if you were like ashamed that you play House Flipper 2?
Like, listen, maybe House Flipper 2 isn't like some elite gamer game, but you know what? It's good for me. It's good for my soul. I could, spend all night playing House Flipper 2 and just have the greatest time.
I have no ill feelings towards House Flipper 2. You could have said Power Washer Simulator, and I would have been just as on board, because that game's a lot of fun too.
I did have a Power Wash Simulator phase.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
I've been playing a little bit of Pokemon Infinite Fusion.
Okay.
Where you fuse the Pokemon, and that's been pretty fun. I've also been playing on my phone a little Duolingo.
Oh, yes.
Trying to get some language arts under my belt.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it though. And the other game that I've been playing, because 'tis the season, right? We're in August, which means that right around the corner is my favorite time of year. And that
Spooky
time
season?
of year. What?
Spooky season?
Kinda. Because I know whenever, I get scared every Sunday when my Seahawks have to line up, and it's football season. Really,
I know it's football season. I know.
And I've been playing a little banger. You might have heard of it, called Backyard Football. Alrighty, we're getting back into the swing of things. I'm trying to set a world receptions record with young Jerry Rice.
Young Jerry Rice.
With young Jerry Rice. And I've been playing a lot of backyard football lately, and it's been a good old time.
Yeah. Love it.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, I did forget the other game that I have been playing.
Yeah, what's that?
On the Switch, the remake of Kirby's Return to Dreamland.
Oh, it's such a fun game.
So good. And I never even played it the first time it came out, so I wasn't really sure how it was going to be, but I immediately fell in love.
It's such a delight to play.
Yeah.
It really
I mean,
is.
Kirby's so cute.
And Thrilly, before we end the show, I gotta ask you, what's something you're looking forward to this week?
Something I'm looking forward to this week.
This week!
My parents are going on vacation, so they can leave me alone.
Hey, yo!
Oh man.
You know, shout out to Thrilly's parents. I love them.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm not really sure what else I'm looking forward to. I'm just trying to take it day by day. I've been living vicariously through my New York Mets, so it's been a little bit of a roller coaster lately. But
Yeah.
I will be going to a Mets game on Monday night, so
Ooh, that'll be fun.
yeah.
Doesn't love a good old ball game.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've been to one with me
I've been
recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good stuff. The thing I'm looking forward to this week is I am getting a tattoo on Tuesday.
Ooh.
So I'll be posting photos of that. It's gonna be a tough one for me to like show on stream.
Why is it on your butt?
It's right on the cheek, and I feel like I'm gonna get banned. No, it's gonna be like right on my thigh.
Okay.
Like, my lower frontal thigh is where I'm gonna have it.
Okay.
But I don't know that it'll be easy to showcase a thigh on stream.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm looking forward to this week.
Sweet.
And we got some breaking news here.
Oh, I did hear this earlier.
We've got a Taco Bell menu release coming through.
Yep. I've read about this on Instagram. This is a good one. Taco Bell is releasing the nostalgia menu with items from every decade. So from the 60s, you have the tostada. The 70s, there's the green burrito. The 1980s Meximelt. The beef gordita supreme from the 90s, right? And the caramel apple empanada from the 2000s.
I didn't realize they got rid of the caramel apple empanada.
Yeah, it's been off the menu for a little bit.
So if you had to pick one of these 5 that you are most hyped about, what one are you most excited about?
Honestly, probably the caramel apple.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one I actually most remember, you know?
I feel like the beef gordita supreme is like we have the cheesy gordita crunch, which is just like the optimal version of the gordita.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's already pretty similar to that.
And so like the beef gordita supreme feels like the gordita minus the crunch, and the crunch is so important to why that's the perfect Taco Bell menu item.
Yep.
The tostada feels just like a lesser version of the Mexican pizza to me.
Yeah, fair.
The green burrito scares me because I don't know what green sauce is. Probably just like a salsa verde.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, what is the Mexi melt? Is that like
I don't actually remember the
just
Mexi
like
melt.
a crispy taco with some extra cheese in it?
Maybe.
And then the caramel apple empanada. You know what? Let's be real. If Taco Bell was going to bring one item back, you already know what my choice is. It is a breakfast item, and it is the Captain Crunch Berry Delights. Are you kidding me?
Good.
Captain Crunchberry Delights, come back to us! Come back to us!
You see what you took from us, COVID? You took our Captain Crunch
I
Delights.
think they were gone even before COVID. I think they were gone after only about 6 months.
I still blame COVID.
Damn you, COVID!
I would laugh. I wouldn't eat it, but I would laugh if they brought back the Bell Beefer.
What a name for a menu item.
I'm
just gonna get a mouthful of Bell Beefer.
You want to know what I like? I like a Bell Beefer.
You know what I don't like? the inside of my local Taco Bell.
I did not like it either when we were there.
It is a terrifying interior Taco Bell. Hey girl, let me get that El Beefer.
Like that guy behind the counter was trying to play like intimidation, and I'm too dumb to be intimidated. So he's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "I just want my food, bro."
Oh,
like,
just give me some food, my guy.
like I'm too tall and wide to be intimidated by you. Just give me my fucking food, bro. like,
and I think on that note, I think we're gonna wrap up the show. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Really had an absolute blast with you.
Dude, I loved this.
Folks, go check out ThrillhouseMAX. He is a streamer on Twitch. You can also find him on Twitter and also YouTube at ThrillhouseMAX. My name is Bill. You can find me at Bill the Fajita on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you want to follow this show, Games of Our Lives podcast, we are available to be listened to on YouTube, on Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts, and probably more coming soon. You can also follow at Games of Our Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. And thank you again, Thrilly, for gracing us with your presence. Can you please sign us off?
Thank you for having me so much. This was awesome. I love you guys. And listen, I say this at the end of every one of my streams, so I'm going to say it to anybody listening or anybody who can see my face. Be good to yourselves, be good to others, and keep being the best version of you, because that's the version of you I want to know.
I love you.
I love you too.